All right, welcome to another week of Less Kevin, More Tech.
UTechIT.com.
UTechIT.com. But we got an upgrade this week. Christine, our director of marketing, is here.
Yes, hello.
How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Absolutely fantastic.
Good. Yeah, I'm excited for this this episode. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a riot. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you could you please introduce our guest and how you guys met? And
Absolutely.
all
Well,
the
we
fun
met
stuff.
at a SBAM event and Small Business Association of Michigan.
Yep.
And the Foaling Warehouse. So we got Scott Brown, Foaling Warehouse, I should say, of Ann Arbor, Ypsi.
Ypsi Ann Arbor.
Ypsi Ann Arbor.
Yep.
And Scott Brown is manager, partner owner, correct?
Part owner, manager.
Part owner,
yep.
manager. And so the first time I've heard about this for years. I'm a big football fan. I'm a terrible bowler. So I'm like, this is perfect for me.
Awesome.
Can throw a football at pins. This is great. So there was an event a couple weeks ago at your new warehouse at the new location. And you and I had some time to talk, and I got to understand the rules a little bit and play and throw the football. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Who made the decision not to call it fouling, but foaling?
They just went with the portmanteau. You know, it's bowling, it's football, and
Yeah.
It was started with bowling, and then football accidentally wedged its way in there. So
Yeah.
it's the dominant. Bowling is the dominant force. So
It started in the naming or the actual game?
both. So the genesis of the game, there's this crew of guys from Detroit that go down to the Indy 500 every single year, and they tailgate literally kitty corner to the Brickyard. Okay, so
Really?
you can see
Okay.
the Brickyard right there, and people from all over America tailgate there. And so, being from Detroit, they have deemed that they have to build something great. They have to build the next, whatever their tailgate
Yeah.
game was going to be. It was going to be
Beanbag toss wasn't good enough.
Exactly. So they decide they're going to build a bowling alley. So they get 6 of these 8-foot long, 42-inch wide boards, and they bolt them together, and they put the bowling pins down at one end, and they start bowling, and it has to be perfectly level.
Yeah.
And it's just not. There's no way to do it, and the bowling ball keeps rolling and hitting people in ankles, and so they decide, all right, we give ourselves an F on this. We failed, all right? They put the bowling ball away for safety purposes, and someone starts throwing a football around and accidentally hits the bowling pins. And they're like, hey,
Right.
this is kind of fun. And so by the end of that weekend, they'd figured out all the rules to foaling.
So there's rules?
Oh, there's lots of rules, but the basics of it are really simple. One team on one side, one team on the other side, 10 pins on each side of the lane. You throw a football and try to knock down all 10 of those pins before they throw that same football back and knock down all 10 of your pins. Whoever does it first wins the game.
Really?
But there's a pin in the middle called
The bonk pin.
the bonk pin, and from what I remember, if you hit that, if you knock the bonk pin over, but only that one pin,
Only
right,
that one. Yep.
you win the game.
Instantly on the first throw.
But you can only knock that one in.
How do you knock one pin down? Oh, it could be anywhere.
It's right in the middle.
Yeah, number 5. If you
It's
were
in the
if you're-
5-pin
Yeah, the
spot?
5-pin. Right. So you've got to come in. You either come in from the sky and just hit it right in dead center, and it has to fall off the board too, or maybe like come in like a jet fighter at a real low angle and just nick it. That's really.
What if it
difficult.
hits another pin?
Then it's not a bonk.
Really?
Oh
Okay.
well.
And then you keep playing.
Yeah. That's the thing is that you can. I throw the ball into that section of the lane a lot, and I knock over 7 or 8 pins.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. And everybody's like, what are you saying? I was like, I just wanted that one. That's all.
But if you knock over all 10 on your first throw,
That's a strike.
It's a strike, and you win.
Same thing, and that's more rare than a bonk.
Is it really?
Yeah, we get about, I'd say, every 3 days a bonk happens. So for November, for instance, first 14 days we had 3 bonks. And then on November 15th we had our league, and there were 3 bonks in the league and a strike.
I just think that would be so difficult.
Yeah, I do too.
It is. It's tough.
So I gotta. So this sport started
Okay.
at tailgating.
Yep.
Indy 500 tailgating.
Was there drinking involved?
There's much drinking involved, yes.
So I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's sort of the
How can you tailgate without drinking?
Right, exactly. There used to be a saying is that, you have a football in one hand and a beer in the other hand.
Yeah.
And in our biggest tournament, the Super Bowl, which happens in Indianapolis every year,
Is it around the
it's on
race?
the Saturday
Okay.
of the race, right? There's a special rule there that you put a solo cup on top of one of the pins, and that's the beer pin. And so when that pin goes down, a beer is thrown to you, and you have to drink it completely before you move on to the next throw.
An added rule.
But that's only that tournament. To make a special degree of difficulty, it is. So
I'm wondering what kind of training regime these people go through.
the drinking part of the bowling part.
So back to how it all started. So
Yeah.
these guys create this game in Indy. What year is this?
This
About?
is 2001.
Okay, so that's some time ago.
Right. So they come back the next year, and they look around, and the guys from all the different states who tailgate next to them had all built their own foaling boards. They're like, this is pretty popular. And so they have a tournament, which eventually becomes super full. And that first year, I think there's 8 teams in the tournament or something like that. Then the next year they come back, and there's more teams and more teams and more teams. And by the time,
So we're 21 years later.
right, in 2018, I think there were 128 teams in the tournament.
Holy smokes.
And you said from multiple countries too, right?
Yeah, a couple countries, but on almost all the states too are represented in some way, shape, or form.
Is there any contracts with ESPN yet?
Not yet, but I can see us on the Ocho
Yeah.
pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the fun part is that there's some great personalities in it, just like the ones you see in the PPA now. There's in each of the folders has a distinct little personality, and we can point them out to you. So it's great.
So then these guys go back to Detroit
Yeah.
and find a warehouse and said, I want to make this a brick and mortar thing.
Well, it evolved, and everything you see at the warehouse comes from this evolution. First, they started playing in their backyards, and we're in Michigan. You can only do that, 1 month a year. And so one of them has a warehouse, and they say, well, why don't we go play in the warehouse? So they start playing in the warehouse, and then people start showing up, and they say, well, if you want to come in, you've got to bring a case of beer with you or a 12-pack of beer, and we'll put it in this old vending machine we have. And so that's where our
Mystery beer, which is
the
I
mystery
thought
beer
was
machine
so cool.
comes from.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have a machine where you can press a $2 or a $4 button and get a $2 or $4 beer.
But you don't know what you're gonna get.
You don't know what you're going to get. Could be a Busch Light, dry ice, Jenny, whatever, or it could be a really nice craft beer. So that's where that came from. And then the ball started flying around, and so they started building the cage that we are in, and with the wood. And so everything seems rudimentary, but it all comes from the original Foaling Warehouse. And eventually they decided that this...
And that's Hamtramck, right?
well, that's before Hamtramck.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
there was a toy warehouse that was built on top of a marijuana dispensary that wasn't completely legal. And when that got shut down, that was when they decided, all right, we've got to go legit. And they bought they leased the warehouse.
So it wasn't legit at this time.
It was renegade, It's just something. I mean, it's a typical Detroit story. It's like it happened in a warehouse. It was a rap battle of the century, whatever it happens to be. But it was much like that. And then 2014, by the end of that year, they'd opened up the original Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck.
God, I can see a Will Ferrell movie out of this at some point in time.
Playing the founder, Will Ferrell. That would be really awesome. So that was kind of how it all started in Hamtramck, and it was instantly popular there because they already had this built-in audience for it of people who love the game, and you walk in, you pay your $10 down there. Now it's $12, and you can foal all night long.
Wow.
Against whoever competition shows up.
Yeah.
So you have leagues, I would imagine.
Yeah, we do. They have a number of leagues down in Hamtramck because of their history, but we have started our own leagues. We did them all through the summer, and then we've just completed our first American Foaling Association qualifying league, and we have 4 teams that will come out of this and go to the AFA Championships, which will happen in Hamtramck this January.
Wow, that's
So-
cool. Do they wear? Do they get uniforms at all or matching shirts?
We all have matching
Yeah.
shirts. Ours, of course, are maize and blue, representing Ann Arbor.
Nice.
And then each city, like the Indianapolis franchise, has blue and white for the Colts. So each of them will bring their own team with their own shirts. And
So you mentioned franchise. I just heard that sneak in. So
oh yeah.
So this is expanding, and now it's taking on a truly legitimate business form.
There are 6 of us out there. It started in Hamtramck. The second one was Grand Rapids, then Cincinnati, then Indianapolis and Atlanta, and then us. And now next up is Plano, Texas, just outside of Dallas. And there's going to be some other ones. You're going to find that where football is loved, Foaling follows.
okay.
And this is the Foaling Warehouse. That's trademarked. So
Yes.
so if you go to a another facility and they might have the same game, they're not allowed to call it foaling.
Well, it's not exactly the same game because that's sort of what we're protecting. Is
Okay.
like this is foaling and it's done in a professional sense in a foaling warehouse, right?
Yep.
These other places, they're just toying with it, and so they have to have a distinct change in their what they're doing. Some rule has to be different.
They probably don't have a boink pin.
A bonk pin, yeah.
Or a bonk pin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what? In most other parts of the planet, boink and bonk are synonymous.
Yeah.
So I'm just, when we have international travelers come in, we say, this is the bonk pin. You can all see them going, oh, bonk. Oh. Because, it means something different to them in
Got
other
it.
parts of the world.
Right.
So yeah, that's the way we sort of describe it is if you want to see professional type foaling, this is the place to do it. This is the trademark.
And so when I left the warehouse a couple weeks ago, I was chit-chatting with you, and I looked over on the wall. I'm like, hey, you guys can be portable? I'm like, how much? I'm like, all right, this is going to be awesome because my family, we love doing the yard games, and we'll go out there, and we love football, and we'll do the cornhole toss or ladder game, whatever.
Yep.
And so I walked away with it. So we're looking forward to busting it out on Thanksgiving.
Weekend? Oh, and it's a football holiday,
yeah,
right?
it is.
Yeah.
So after the Lions play, we'll probably be releasing some frustration out with the foaling.
Shall see a 3-game winning streak.
I know.
You never know.
I know. Yeah. So it's cool that now these are portable, and you can purchase these, and
Yep.
it's
There's a portable version of it out there. It's available at stores across America. We're kind of proud of that because it's going to give us the opportunity to expand foaling to places where there's no foaling warehouse.
So is it the size, not like at your warehouse, but
No, it's a little bit smaller.
It's a little smaller.
Yeah, these things are heavy, man.
Yeah,
they're really
I can
heavy.
imagine.
But imagine, all right, so the one the portable version is heavy. Just add a couple 100 pounds to that, and that's what these boards are because we don't want them to move when the ball hits them. And they're substantial, and they're bowling pins. They're actual bowling pins you're hitting with a football.
Right.
So when you're doing a spare with a bowling ball, you want the bowling ball to hit the pin so the pin shoots across. In foaling, you want to hit the inside of the pin so the ball shoots across and picks up a split for you. So it's a little bit different of a strategy.
and there's strategy, right? So if it bounces and it bounces,
It will bounce.
Yeah, and it bounces back, and if it comes hit, like the other team can block it.
Well,
right?
you're not
So
allowed
there's-
to touch the ball in between the two foul lines, okay? Which is
That'd be cheating if they
it
did.
would be cheating, and then someone might get angry and throw
Yeah,
a football
I've
at your
heard.
head. I know.
You can have angry foalers out there.
You can, but they're all very nice. I mean, there's a sense of camaraderie amongst the foalers.
Yeah.
And sort of watch out for each other because there's footballs flying everywhere, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, if the ball bounces beyond the board, it's a good idea to grab it because footballs have a tendency to bounce backwards, and it bounces into the pins. That still counts. And if someone's ball from another lane comes and hits your pins, that counts. If a dog runs through and hits your pins, that counts.
counts.
Wow.
Right? So,
What happens if you're standing on one leg?
you can do that.
Anything counts.
Everything counts.
So
Exactly.
so this is interesting, and I wanted to bring this up. So you're involved with this business now. You own and you run this business.
Yep.
However, you're very comfortable in front of a mic.
Yeah,
This
these
is,
things are
I mean,
fun.
your background though is in radio, right?
Exactly.
Like, so give us a quick background and then how you got involved in this.
So it's a long story, but I'll try to condense it for you. Went to school and went to Wayne State University. I was very interested in radio and started working at WAYN and WDET down in Detroit. I got an internship at WRIF, which was one of my favorite radio stations when I was a kid with Arthur Penhallow and everything, and got in there and eventually became the marketing and promotions director for WRIF for 8 years and went to Maui 3 times on Riff's dime, and got pretty good at it, and it was a blast, and met Arthur Penhallow and the whole thing. Eventually, we wanted to get modern rock radio in Detroit, and there was no modern rock station. So a few of us from Riff got together and put a business plan together and went around to the failing radio stations, the only way to describe it, in town. And one of them was this little Canadian radio station called CIMX. And we said, hey, we have this business proposition for you to put on modern rock format. And they said, okay, we'll let you do it after 7 p.m. every night and until midnight, and you guys can sell your own advertising and make your own money. Well, that was now known as 89X and the Summer of the X.
Yeah.
And so we built this radio station, this marketing plan, and eventually it went 24 hours, and then that lasted for a long time.
That's a great story right there.
So that's the beginning. And then I decided that I wanted dental insurance and have a family, and you can't do that in radio. So somebody from an advertising agency had called me and said, hey, we're looking for someone like you, not you, but someone like you, because I know you just love radio. I said, well, why not me? And so they brought me into J. Walter Thompson, one of the largest advertising agencies in the world. And they said, we want you to make a radio promotions department that does just radio promotions. And so we started that, and that lasted for 25 years.
Wow.
And we started a company called Mindshare out of that. It's all the same. Advertising agencies are weird. They change their names, but it's really the same bunch of people.
Yeah.
So as that's ending, I was getting retired because, I'm old, and so I'm not hip anymore and don't understand what the kids think, and started looking around. And I'd run into Foaling. My wife is a TV reporter, and she called me up one day and said, we love long games. We have this big long game thing at our house called the Long Game Olympics, and there's, 5 long games set up. She goes, I think I got a new one. I found this thing called Foaling. It's really crazy. You got to watch the video. So I did, and I was like, I have to do this. And so that was just as the Foaling warehouse was opening up in 2014. Went down there, checked it out, and started looking around and going, this is a business here. There's not much overhead. Okay. There's not very many people working here. It looks really easy to run. Wrong, but, it looked that way. And so I started, putting pieces together to put a business plan together for a Foaling warehouse, and purchased a franchise and opened up here in 2022.
Wow,
so,
great story.
Yeah, cool story.
No, isn't that fun? Yeah.
So when you first started playing, did you any good?
No, not really.
It's so much harder. This is the first time, and I feel like I can throw a football.
Yeah.
And people kept telling me, it's harder than it looks, Christine. It's harder than it looks. And it is. Because you're just not.
It's just Americans are not used to throwing at stationary objects. We're used to having a receiver come and grab the football. We'll put it out in that area where they'll come and get it. Whereas people in southern Asia, for instance, are used to playing cricket. They're used to throwing a ball at a stationary object, and they're pretty darn good at it. So it's just a matter of getting your sights, trying to throw the ball low, trying to throw it the same distance every time. And then once you get the distance, then you can hone in your direction. And then once you get that, then you get a little bit better. Sad story is my daughter-in-law is a tennis pro. And so that same action, she's used to, that repeated motion and muscle memory, and she is amazing at it. And it ruined picnics for me forever. It's like, come on, let's go play some long games. No, she'll just kick my butt. And she does. And she's one of the best foalers around.
Wow.
So, yeah, tough sledding there.
Could be a second career.
Yeah, well, if it ever goes pro, I think Mackenzie will be it. She could be very, very good at it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the strategy piece because it looks like a bunch of people getting.
Well, it does. It looks like a bunch of people,
you're
right, getting drunk and throwing balls at bowling pins. And there's some truth to that. But once you're really good at it, you start looking at how pins are gathered together in groups. It's really difficult to hit just one pin by itself.
That's where I was, when we had 2 pins left. I mean, it took probably 25 throws to finally get both of them. I mean, and we were so close and just couldn't get that 1 or 2 pins to go.
It's called one-pinitis. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of little sayings, like there's a Kenny Wu. If 2 pins are sitting right next to each other, you can split them and have them fall like that. I don't know why it's called Kenny Wu. Maybe a guy named Kenny Wu was the first to do it. We have
got his own move.
Yeah, whenever there's 8 pins or 9 pins sitting up and you throw it and it looks like it's going to knock down a bunch, but just hits one. Or
you got your own move?
Yeah.
Do you have your own move?
I do.
A signature?
I throw like a baseball pitcher. I'll wave my arms back and then throw it over the top of my head, like to throw it like a tomahawk straight. And it's a really relaxed throw. You can't. Whereas another one, Eric Smith, or E as everybody calls him, he's probably one of the best players. He throws it underhand, and just as he's about to throw it, he flicks the ball like you hook a bowling ball. There's one guy named Billy Cooley who's very good. Just before he throws the ball, he sticks his arms out, centers himself, puts his hands together, and then he throws, and it's some kind of voodoo stuff. Everybody's got their own little quirks to their game. So, and you could put a silhouette of them up there. I go, that's Billy Cooley, or that's.
They probably had the same. I'm just thinking in history, the same kind of concept when curling was invited.
Right,
a bunch of drunken Canadians out there rolling.
Oh, I got a rock there, eh? You want some ice too? There's lots of ice, eh? Well, let's do that. So I learned Canadian while I was.
I heard that. I picked the accent up. It was amazing.
Well, you have to speak the language if you're going to work in a different country.
Right.
What was the process to learn that?
Oh, I had to go from A to Z there. Mom taught me it all. Yeah. So,
Crazy.
and Tim Hortons, that's why I love Tim Hortons so much too.
Great hockey player.
Oh, yeah, he was in Buffalo. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So pretty wild. I'm looking at some of your literature here.
Yep.
And not only do you market the portable to take home, right? It looks like you also have a on-the-go for.
That's the mobile folding unit, or the MFU. We just like it because it has MF and FU in it. But
Yeah.
You can rent boards and have them on site at your house, or if you have a corporate event that's outdoors during the summer, we can bring folding right to you. We've done a lot of charity events like the Cancer Walk. We went down there and set up some folding boards so that when they were on break from doing their walk, they could throw the football. And so we have that. We're really good for corporate events during the winter too. So like right now is our big season because everybody's having their holiday parties. And it's a lot better than just going to a restaurant and sitting around looking at people you look at all day.
Yeah.
When you can have some sort of competition, and it's not like bowling where you're up there and then the next person's up there. You get to participate, and you actively have to deal with the people next to you.
So you're starting to get lots of requests for this.
Yeah, it's starting to happen. Summer was tough just because Michigan, you have summer, we can go outside, we do. And, you don't really want to go inside. But now it's the time. Lights shut off at 5 o'clock now, and it's cold outside. No one wants to go out.
Right.
So we're something fun and active to do. And it's relatively inexpensive.
So you said you walk in and it's how much?
$12 to walk in the door, and you can stay all night long.
It's $12 per person.
$12 per person.
And you need, can you have just 2 people play?
Yep.
And then
can.
what's the max?
You can have up to 10 people on one lane, 5 person per team.
5 person per
But
team.
to be honest with you, it's kind of disappointing if you're only getting a turn every 5th time. So 2 or 3 is typically the best.
Okay.
One, if you just if you're a true believer and you just want to wail away, one person on each side.
When I was there and played, we had 2 on each side, which is a lot of fun. You
Right.
can throw every other throw. So
And you can watch what happens on the other lanes because you have to watch balls coming from other lanes to make sure they don't hit your pins. So you have one person on defense, one person on offense.
Wow.
Yep.
So can people just drop in and join other teams, or does that ever happen?
Down in Hamtramck, it happens a lot more, and will happen at our place. But what happens is you have a bunch of reservations on a majority of the lanes, and then there's 5 or 10 lanes that are open play, and so you just walk into the open play area and go, "Hey, I got next," and whoever wins stays, and whoever loses walks. And then since you're the new player, you get to go first. That's a disadvantage because the player who goes last always goes last. So if you knock down the 10th pin as the first team,
they still get a shot.
they still get a shot to tie it up, and they can go into sudden death
okay.
overtime. Yeah. So then you just So we've gone in there.
What's
and
overtime like?
overtime, you just stick one pin on each side, flip a coin. It's sudden death. Whoever knocks that one pin down, no rebuttal. And so it's like you're talking about. You could be 25 throws, or you can get lucky and nail it on the first one.
Wow.
So it's a lot of fun. It's very addictive.
So do you need? So right now, I know it's really starting to pick up and everything because summertime and fall. Now we're getting into winter. If someone just wants to, if they've got Friday night, hey, let's go out and do something different. Do you need a reservation right now?
Probably not right now, but soon, hopefully, during the winter. And just walk in for $12 on Friday nights. For instance, we have a tournament at 7 o'clock every Friday night. So if you walk in and pay your $12, you can just sign up for free, and then whoever wins of the 16 teams gets a $120 gift card to the Folding Warehouse. If you do want to reserve a lane, that's how much it would cost you for one lane for 2 hours for 10 people.
Okay.
So you can make reservations. You can just call us 734-499-FULL. So
That's easy.
That's cool.
Good. And then you can make reservations on the website as well, I would
exactly.
imagine.
And
Okay.
that way you don't have to share your credit card with any strangers on the phone, which would be me. I'd be the stranger on the phone.
So I was just thinking the tournament winner ought to get a free round at the Mystery Beer Machine.
Oh yeah, well that's only $2 though. They can, but yeah, if you want, that's what it takes. I'll pay the $2.
That's fun.
And you get your Jenny Cream Light Ice Natty Ale.
I would want the $4 one
Yeah.
in hopes of a good
good
craft
one,
beer.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so funny. The Mystery Beer Machine, that one, the other beer pouring system, mystery beer machine. So we have over 100 different craft beers.
Really?
Right. And
Wow.
so some of them are hits and some of them are misses, and we just don't know which are which. And so the misses go into the machine. So you're going to get a great beer that you've not heard of before. And then it's like, oh, that's great.
It's a mystery.
Yep. And the other one comes from Indianapolis. It's called the Bottoms Up Beer Delivery System.
Yeah.
And it fills.
Super cool.
It is so cool. It fills the glass. Here's a little magnet on the bottom, and it fills from the bottom up, so it just rises and then stops exactly at the top.
So there's
of the
like a
cup.
magnet down there, right?
Yep.
Because there's a couple of fun signs around there. It says don't put your finger.
Don't finger your cup hole.
Don't finger your cup hole.
Right.
Because Steve Birch did it,
Yep.
and he saw the sign that says don't finger your cup hole. So the first
So
thing
he
you
does.
do is do it, and beer shoots everywhere because
Gravity is amazing,
Yeah.
isn't it? I know.
it's funny.
So the glass, what you're saying, the bottom of the glass isn't glass.
It's a plastic cup
yeah.
because if you're going out on the
I see.
And there's a
course,
little
yeah.
washer built into the bottom of it, and
Okay.
then there's a magnet that goes on top. So when you put the beer on the system, it goes and it fills the beer up, and then when it's done, it stops. Then you just pull it off, and the magnet sticks to the bottom, and it seals airtight.
leak.
No leaking.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so this was interesting. So we were talking about this,
Mm-hmm.
and he said Scott was telling me on an average keg, typically what? If I remember, 15% of the beer gets wasted from either the overpour
Right.
or giving out samples maybe or whatnot
Foam.
or foam. Yeah, a lot of foam. And so in this system, it's less than 1%.
Really? It's like
The only beer that is lost is the stuff that's in the lines.
Yep.
So it's
And
a perfect pour.
So for a business owner, I mean, to get.
It's
You
such-
said you saved so much money on
so
the
much
beer.
money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the glasses are more expensive, like 3 times more expensive than your normal cups, but you save so much.
There's
that
no
it's totally
waste.
worth it.
And it sounds cool.
Oh my God, it's so much fun to watch.
It is. Oh, I came back. I'm like, can I get behind the bar and get some video? She's like, yeah, come on back. So
Because
I got
everybody's
some
like,
video.
oh my God, you got to see this. And people order beer just to watch it fill
Yeah,
up.
it's super
Yeah.
cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
So then on the other part of that,
Yep.
if you're going on a Friday or Saturday night, so you guys don't have a kitchen, right? But you can bring food in.
yep. As a matter of fact, if we made food, it wouldn't be good. So why bother, right? So there are over 40 restaurants within a mile of us. You can cater, have delivered, bring your own food as long as it's not in anything breakable like ceramic or glass. And you can have your own little picnic right there behind your lanes. Each lane
Food
has
trucks ever show up?
We are just in negotiations right now with the food truck. It's just that we haven't been busy enough to really make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
But now the food trucks are starting to come to us and going, can we? It's like, yes,
Sure.
you can.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. So we'll start having them on Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Now that's cool.
Very cool. I definitely, as the marketing director here, definitely have my, we're definitely going to either do company
And
bowling nights
Yeah.
outing, or even in the summer when we've had
Yeah,
that food
right.
truck here and have the mobile units show
Yeah, that
up.
would be cool.
But that'd be.
Yeah.
I just think, especially with our team,
Yeah.
we'd have an absolute blast as a company doing that.
Totally. Yeah. it's-
Setting up I could set up a little intercompany tournament.
We got a big blackboard
Yep.
for you. Yep. So, and if you want to, if you're just, hey, you want to go full in, it's typically right after work is a great time to go because we're not that busy. Usually, about 6, things start happening.
Got it.
Yep. So
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
it is a
It's
blast.
fun. I can't
Can't
wait to go
wait.
back with my family. That's why I bought the mobile one. I'm going to play in a few days on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you'll be ready. You're going to be a pro by the end of the month. So, and we have leagues too. We have a league starting up in January. It's a doubles league. So, and you and a friend want to come learn to full. It's fun. You don't have to be good, but being around good fullers, you see their techniques, and we're very helpful. And yes,
Techniques and strategies.
strategies exactly. And you have to have the technique before you have the strategy.
I think the primary strategy is go to the mystery beer machine.
I don't.
I knew you'd be
discount
intrigued by that, Les.
that. Well, yeah. You come on by. I'll show you all how it works.
That's way cool.
I can push buttons as good as anybody.
Yeah.
That is way cool.
So yeah, it's a blast. The Fulling Warehouse. We're right on the corner of Gulfside and Washtenaw. It's northeast corner of Gulfside and Washtenaw.
Right by the at-home store, is that right?
Yeah, At Home is on one side of us, and Crunch Fitness is on the other side, and we're tucked in between the two of them. It's an old Farmer Jack that was abandoned 18 years ago, and it was empty. And I saw it online. I actually put my thumb on the map and said, if I could have a Fulling Warehouse, I'd put it right in between Eastern and U of M, right here, and literally put my finger on the map where it was. And it's like,
Wow.
there's an abandoned warehouse there. That's great. So,
And you're up
Perfect.
and running.
yep.
So give out your website and the phone number again.
Okay, it's www.fullingwarehouse.com, and then you'll find the Ann Arbor button there, or just type in Ypsi Ann Arbor. Phone number is 734-499-FULL, which is 3695, 499-3695. And we're open 4 to 10 on weekdays, 4 to midnight on Fridays, and noon to midnight on Saturday. So,
Wow.
Awesome. Closed on Sunday?
no, we're
Sundays?
open on Sundays.
Okay.
We're closed. It's noon to 8 on Sundays. We're closed on Mondays.
Okay. Mondays you're closed. Okay.
Yeah. 'cause-
Oh, another thing I should say real quick is you guys have TVs everywhere. So if
my
you want to
God.
go on Sunday and watch football, like
Got it.
go and just watch football all day, and for $12 you walk in and you're throwing the footballs and you're watching football, and you can bring in food and drinks and
What a day.
Yep.
buy drinks, and it's
Oh my God, Saturdays is crazy
College
too, because
football
we
and-
literally have 18 TVs. We could tune each one of them to a different football game. There's that many.
there's
college
that many
football
TVs.
games.
There's a TV almost.
Yep.
They're all over the place. So
Yep.
That's
that's
awesome.
another
Well
really
covered.
cool thing. Yeah.
Yep. And
Yep.
some big screens with some laser technology. So we up the ante on our televisions.
Wow, that's
So,
great.
Yep.
Well, you got anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. This has been great.
It really has, Scott.
Definitely
Appreciate it.
encourages someone who's just been once. I can't wait to go back. So
Please come on by. Foley Warehouse is waiting for you.
Yeah, that's great. Well, appreciate you coming by.
yeah.
Glad to have you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.